Hello. Hope we're doing all well. Hope we're doing okay. How are we doing? So today we are going to look at these items that we've got here. These items are all from MERG, the same as last week. They're all based on the CBUS network, which I was mentioning last week. So basically you can connect all the 4 of these items together with just 4 wires, and they'll all communicate with each other on the CBUS network. Basically this one's a servo kit. And with this one you have the different components inside to build it, as well as the... Yes, Brian, that is I'm more than welcome to do that. Ooh. So this is the one we're going to start with. So you just get a bare PCB like we had last time. And you get another bag full of the components. And as you can tell, this time I haven't actually opened this at all until we've got to this point, so that I know for a fact that I haven't lost anything. I don't know why that's hidden. You should be able to see me. There we go. That's better. So Brian, to your question the other day, this has actually got nothing to do with DCC. This is a completely different system. You can use this with DC traction. This runs alongside whatever traction you're deciding to use. This component here, which I've got in this big box, which I think I showed you last week, just got all these other bits and pieces in it. This is called a command station. Now this does have a DCC controller in it, but for all these other things to work with each other, you don't need that. There isn't like a brain that works between all of them. And this side is literally a DCC booster. It will work with most DCC systems. It doesn't have to work with this. And then this is the CBUS USB system, which you would need for most of these, because this is what you use to program them with a file on the computer, which I'll show you later on. Yes, I am. Yeah, you can only buy these items if you are a member of MERG. It's not that expensive. It's worth it. I say it is worth it just for the amount of knowledge that there is on the website. There is an unbelievable amount of knowledge on the website that you can get once you've signed up. You can access pretty easily. And it's not just about the DCC or even the CBUS. There are other options. Just bear with me 1 second. So this is another MERG kit, and it also runs servos. Is it going to focus on this? Come on. There we go. Now this will run 4 servos. You set it up via this socket here, and then you have this panel here, which has got your... Let me get this in the light properly. Hang on, let me switch. Let's switch to this one. So you've got this panel on the front here, and this panel will give you your switch inputs, so that you can literally just run these like you would with any other layout back to a control panel, which have literally just got basic switches on, and then these will run switches, and then you run this board with 5 volts, I think it is. These all run on 12 volts. My hands are very white there. But these work on a different sort of system. They can work individually if you really want them to. But the idea of these is that you have 8 outputs for servos, and then you also have 8 inputs for either feedback or for any other input that you might want to use. For instance, one of these. So you could use one of these, and one of these boards will fill up all the inputs on this board. So these 2 boards will be next to each other, and on this board there are inputs on the sides to run your track droppers too, which would give you each of your dropper length would be a block, as long as they're isolated from each other. But again, like I said, you can use this with any type of traction. It could be AC, could be DC, could be DCC, any sort of traction. This runs alongside your thing. It's what's called a layout control bus, an LC bus. See you later, Todd. Thank you very much for coming in. Teach me, almighty one. So yeah, this is basically a layout control system rather than it being a traction system, if that makes sense to everybody. Just get the solder iron plugged in and warmed up. Now, I did have somebody ask me a few questions on one of my, I think it was on the last stream, on a comment, about the can-pan kit. Now, the can-pan kit is the kit that goes inside your, if you're going to use this CBUS system. Come on, get this on here. There we go. So yeah, a can-pan is one of these. Now this is what would go inside your layout control board. Four connectors, like I showed you before, there is on all the other boards. You'd run 4 wires to this. And then to this you would run matrix of switches to this port. It's a 25-pin detector. You all probably know what one of these is. Excuse me. If I just go to, no, that's the input one. That one. Here we go. So if I show you this. Now this gives you a good idea of how you would set this up. Now if you look at this, this is only using 12 pins of the 25. So you have 4 grounds technically, and 8 positives, and then you would matrix them up like this. And then as you can see, that is only populating half the pins on this socket. So then you have, I think it's a bit further down. Yeah. So then on the rest of the sockets, you have outputs for LEDs. So it gives you an idea of how many LEDs and how many pins you can run just off this one connector and that one board. So yeah, and this board has the option to have a 26-pin connector, Let's go back to this one, which is just here. And one of these pins, which I think is this one here actually with a thicker trace on it, this pin here will actually give you I think it's 5 volts out if you needed it, which is why there's an extra pin to this one. So yeah, I hope that clears up, and if you need to go back to those, obviously just rewind the video at some point and you'll be able to see those pictures. But right, let's crack on with this. We need the instructions, which we have here, like as before. They're very well detailed instructions, with a picture of the board as it should be completed. So I'm just going to work my way through this. On this one's not too bad. I think the worst one was the one I tried to do the other day, which was the actual control of this one. This is the worst. Without me taking it apart, this has got, because this is double-sided board, so you've got all these buttons and this all on one side, and then you have all the componentry on the other side. It is one of the hardest kits to make, I think, personally, out of the ones that I've found so far. I'm just gonna have a sip of tea. Yes, it is sort of a DC and DC system, Brian. It doesn't use DCC to communicate between the components. It uses a completely different thing, and you don't need to have the component that's in this box. You don't have to have that. You can just have these. So for instance, you could have your can pan in your control box, and have all your switches and stuff on your box, and then you could get, say for instance, 2 gauge master surface mount controllers, mount them either side of the box, then run all your wires from your track to your controllers, and then everything else on the layout's controlled by this. Because it can also do relays and stuff like that, control, so you can turn off sections and stuff like that. When with your DC layout, you can obviously turn sections off in stations, so you can bring another train into a different station while that's still powered, so on and so forth. The other boards that I've got, which is this one here, this is a can out. So as you can see, this has got an 8 output and 8 input module. So the 8 outputs you can put to anything you want. I don't know the exact terminology of what they do, but they're basically switches that are controlled by switches through a network, basically. The network is the CBUS network. So you have switches and LEDs that are connected to this. And then basically you have motors or switches or relays or lights connected to the outputs of these boards, because these can actually be made so that they are 16 outputs or 16 inputs. They can be made into both. As far as I'm aware, that's what I've been made to be aware of. But there is another board called a can-in as well that you can buy, which is just literally 16 inputs on a board. Oh, that's a nice colour. So, we'll grab flux, solder. I'm starting with resistors again as normal, because the way they ask you to build these cards is from the smallest component on the Z-axis, so that's in this way from the board upwards. So you do the lowest components first, and then you build up to the highest components last. This is mainly so that when you're building it and you haven't got something like this to build it with, you can flip the board over and use whatever surface you're using to push the components down, and you've not got taller components restricting you putting that component in. CBUS is as far as I'm aware, just in the MERG system, as far as I'm aware. I don't think there is any other system that uses the same thing. But if anybody does have any more questions about this, then please do put them in the chat. I am not the most well-versed person in the world on this. I will tell you that now. There are still things I learn every week when I speak to people at the club and so on and so forth. But I'm starting to get the hang of it. So I thought I'd try to share you my future problems, or so on and so forth with it. My future progress. That's the word I was looking for. Let's start with these. So as you can see, all the resistors are numbered on this card. And then on the board, they're all numbered on here as well. So I've got resistor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just up here. Let me just see if we can get a better view of that one. It's very bright, isn't it? I can't really turn that light down. Turn this one off. Oh, there we go, there we go. So yeah, so as you can see, they're all just numbered here. So then I'll just go through these, put these resistors in the order that they need to be. There are molds you can buy as well that will form these perfectly. I roughly know where to bend them and stuff like that anyway to get them in, but there are molds you can buy off the site itself, or you can 3D print them if you're that way inclined. I hope everyone's had a good week. I'm a bit picky. I like to put my resistors in the same way. Not that it really matters. Just makes it look a little bit neater. Sorry for touching the mic there. I know as soon as I touch this mic stand, I know it makes lots of noise. I heard that last week. There we go. Oh well. just going to have to be super careful. Right. Come on then. There we go. Right. I am doing this from the wrong side, like. It's better. So when I was doing the one last week, it was quite critical on cutting everything down quite narrow and quite close to the board. This isn't as necessary. I still like to try and get pretty close, but it's not as necessary to be as close because we haven't got anything actually mounting on this side of the board. A few DCC machines. This takes about 40. You're currently reverting a DCC loco back to DC, so I have a soldered iron warmer up. Snap. Mind you, mine takes about 30 seconds to heat up, to be honest. It's a pretty good bit of kit. I do like it. It's got one of these on it as well. It's very noisy, so we'll turn that off. So we work on to 3 and 4 after we've snipped those little bits off. Oh, I want to have a case open, don't I? This is my little case of all my little bits and pieces. And I like to keep these because they're quite handy if you need to extend the leg of an LED or something like that, for instance. So I just like to keep hold of them. Put my hands in the way. Come on, that's it. There we go. So now we got the resistor 3 and resistor 4. Spin it around again. You've done it already, Graham. You've done it already. Well, I've put this in the wrong order, haven't I? It's supposed to go in 5. So we'll pull it out. I'll put it where it's supposed to go. Yeah. Just concentrate on what you're doing. Right. Try that again, shall we? So that's 4. That'll go in nice and easily. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. Well, at least you can see how, if you've messed up, how you can fix it. Still not quite there. There we go. There we go, they're not touching. I'll just snap these off. There we go. That's okay. Now we move on to the next bit. Fit resistor 6. So where does the resistor 6 go? Down there, look. Excuse me. Down here. This really hasn't having a fun time zooming, focusing in on that, is it? If anyone's wondering, I solder at 366 degrees with this soldering iron anyway. I have one that's also from DCC Concepts, but that one doesn't, it only goes up in 25 degree increments, I think it is. Whereas this goes up in singles. So what we're now, diodes 1 and 2. So we'll get these. So we've got one there. Leave this one a little bit wider. Turn it the right way around. Clive, that's not very nice. I've done it before. It's better. Sip of tea. Do 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 boom. Right, now we're on to the two capacitors, two tiny little things. Now these haven't got a longer leg on either side, so these can go in either way around. Now, pay attention. C2 and C3. C2 and C3. Where are we? Oh, there they are. There they are. Come on, way out. There we go. This one. good to me. Split those out at the back. That's it. Might as well just put the next ones in because they're the same thing anyway. Pretty much. So C4, C5. C4. C5. It's going to be very close to where that is in the circuit. Come on, where are you? There it is. You sunk my battleship. Smart. I got my son's mate once. He was learning on my layout, so I put the mega ohm meter on the track, similar effect to the cow fence. Oh dear. So C16, C17, C17, C15, C9, 16, there it is, there it is, there it is. Come on. So C1, should really have this down here, shouldn't I? C1, I've seen that, there it is. Oh, it's got a plus side. And you see that one's longer than the other. So that means it's got to go in that way around. Done that before. And it's not realised until I've powered it up. And it's blown a few things up with it. C7. Over there. Well, I need to get them soldered in. Oops, sorry about that. It's a better view, isn't it? These ground ones always take a little bit longer. Mine's right in the way there. Ooh. Some people might be asking, why are you holding a big reader solder in your hand? Well, I like something to have cupped in my hand when I'm holding something. I don't know why, it just helps me keep steady a little bit more. Don't ask me why, I haven't got a clue. Oh. Hello again, Andy. I guess it's probably 4060, or is it crappy ROH stuff? Oh. There we go. Those bits off. And that's all the yellow caps on. Now you say that lead-free is pretty rubbish or whatever, but that's exactly what this is. And you've seen exactly the job I've been able to do with it. Don't get me wrong, this isn't cheap. But it's one of the best, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it on there. It says up there in that corner, lead-free. But it is very good solder. Very good solder. So I'm now on to the next page. So this is exactly why. Let's go back to this one. Go back to here. Now you can see here, it's given me 3 diagrams in this corner. Now these are 3 linking pieces that I have to actually create out of these. So that's one of the reasons I like to save them, is because you do actually need them sometimes for the kits. I know obviously I've just chopped a load off there, so I would have them anyway. But I just like to keep them for that reason.
Are you gonna fit through the holes? Yeah, that's the ones I want.
There we go. So I'll just clean the solder off this. Should be fine. Now I'm just using my snips to hold it. and bend it over. To make the little link. Now that's going to be well too wide for that. I don't know if you can see that, that's going to be well too wide. So it needs to be a bit thinner than that. So we'll just straighten that back out again. A bit closer. Bend it over, that looks better. That looks loads better. And then I'll just chop that off there. Now we're going into U5 on VO1. Let's bring this in. VO1. It's this one up here, U5. So just hold it with me snips. It's still not quite. I don't know if you can see that, but it's still not quite. Let's go on a bit of zoom on that, shall we? There we go. So as you can see, that's not quite. Come on, focus in. I don't like it, does it? You can probably see it there though, but it's not quite. So what I'll do is I'll just bend them in together. So then it's this sort of inverted, so it bends in on itself a little bit, and then it should just come on. There we go. There we go. And we'll just flip it over. And over. Just like that. There we go. Just like that there. So I've got to do that to LK6 as well. Get it again up there, bend it back over again, and just snip that off there. OK6. Yeah, unfortunately this needs to be, I don't know if you can see how thin that is, but that's like, even if I had needle nose pliers they wouldn't be. But I haven't got micro needle nose pliers, should I say. And also I don't, unless you spend good money on needle nose pliers these days, the grooving or the nerding or whatever you want to call it is never very good anyway. So I just much prefer, I've got a good grip on this, I can't pull that out, I can't even pull that out of there. Do you know what I mean? Right, LK6. Come on, where are you? You'd never believe I've already built 2 of these, would you? And I still can't find things on the boards. There they are. No. It's down the bottom there, man. That's why I can't see it. We want it. Select U3 or U6 for supply. So it's going to be the left hand side. Why are you making yourself life a lot harder than it needs to be? See, look at that. Can access that perfectly fine now. Look. Bye, Anthony. Thank you very much for joining. Come on, go in there. What are you being a pain for? Is it through? Yes. Why is it being a pain? Yeah, look at that. Right at the very last second, it's like, oh, yeah, there you go. Look, I'll go through for you. What a pain. And what did I do with that? Well, that's probably gone walkies now, isn't it? Get another one. There we go. Where's this one? Okay, 3B. Borrowed. Excuse me. Now I'm probably being blind looking at this again. Look. Okay, 4. Okay, 3B. There we go. That needs to be on the left also. I hope this is interesting for people. So if anybody does have any questions about any of the MERG stuff, you're more than welcome to fire them away. Do my best to answer them. Oh, I missed one. Right, so that's that bit done. So now, first fit OK 7 in the U5 position. I've just done that. Crystal next, which is this one. X, where's it? There it is. Pop that in there. So from the background switch to this little thing here, pops in through there. Like so. From the current from the two 9 resistor networks, it's this one and this one. Just bear me 1 second. There we go. So these have got a little dot on the first pin. You'll see there's a little square here. There's the same here. So that's where you put the dot to the square on these. On that. Come on, there you go. So then I'll flip it over. A little bit of solder. And just pop that first pin in. And the same on that one. And that just holds them in position so you can do the rest. Come on, there we go. It's good to me. So now, that was that thing I dropped earlier. Never mind. From the component bank, extract the 4 DIL sockets. So let's these out of here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So put this one in first. So that one, turn it over. Are you gonna focus? There we go. So again, as before, let's get a little bit of solder on one of those. Let's put it that way around. It's better, isn't it? So make sure it's flat. Put another one over in that corner. And just work our way across. Now we go for the next one. I don't like how loose that is. Just give yourself a bit of tension on there. That's better. Much better. There we go. Do, 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 do. So we've got this one to do. Same process again. Oh, nice, Brian. Is this going to be one of those disaster tourism sessions like at RG trains where everyone cheers at the mishaps? Possibly. Stroke of good fortune, Brian. It was Andy. I've also found the last piece to another build too that I think Jake would be interested to know. If you hear a bang, it's just swing Susie's mouth. Andy, I was just watching my train running in the caravan while I'm home yesterday, just checking to see if it still works. Nice. I don't know if anybody saw the guy that came into Mark's stream on Thursday night. He also came into Jason's stream as well. Canadian Railway Logistics, I think he's called. He actually has a locomotive that is constantly available, so that you can just go to his webpage, and it's got the train simulator controllers at the bottom, and you like double click each controller to pull the controller towards you, or you click it once to push it away from you, and it's got all the sounds and everything, and it's literally like you're driving his model railway but from a cab view. It's really, really good, really good. I was playing about with it most throughout Jason and Mark's stream. Would I play Phasmophobia since it's now out on console and PC? Probably. I can't see why not. Need to buy it first though, Ryan. Oh, these grounds. There we go. I'd just like to make sure that that one's all right and perfect and nothing's gonna touch it, because that's the one that holds the main brain of the whole board. I know there are someone who builds time savers to have them remote control their trains. Oh yeah, this one. What's in there? Turn that over. Same again. I'm planning on doing both, Andy. I'm planning on having the ability to be able to obviously just walk into my room and obviously play with my trains. But I'm also going to have the ability to call in on them if I wish to. But I was also on my layout that I'm building, which is the one that's behind me, just there, which is what all this is for. it's going to have some part of it is going to be automated. So that I can still talk to people at exhibitions and so on and so forth while the layout is still operating. Sounds like Newcastle have just stored. Not sure if anybody else heard that. I'm guessing you did then. So, right, what are we on next? Fit the brown trumpet C1. Well, I've already done that. So I don't need to worry about that one. LEDs. Let's have some tea. Yeah. Yeah, my lass is very much into supporting Newcastle football team. She has season tickets for the women's team, and we try and go every Sunday that it's on. Laura has mental health issues, and while she's at the football ground, they support her by giving her a little room that she's allowed to go into that no one else is. She doesn't really get to see the whole ground, or the whole pitch, I should say, but she gets to see most of it. So she loves it. So why not? She doesn't get much other things in life. She doesn't really leave the house other than to do these things. A few bits and pieces to do general housework, but that's about it really. So anyway, the circular, insert the long node lead in the circular pad. So that way, yellow. Where is that one gone? There it is. Green. Long in the circle. And power. There we go. Let's just bend them over. Hold them in place. All right, thank you very much, Hi. Much appreciated for joining. Going back to your question, Ryan, if I'd probably just stream it on Twitch anyway. Not that anybody watches me on Twitch, like, but oh, excuse me. So that's those ones on. So now we're on to the header strip. So now I need to cut this into little 3-way strips. How many does it say? Okay, the 36 ways, and I cut off 10 3 ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6. So now these all go in here. No. It didn't work. Worked last time. Oh well, we'll just do them one by one. But I cannot hold them. Well, that was clever, Graham. Where did that go? Found it. Alright, mess that out. Well, this is exciting, isn't it? process will just go in. What are you yaying about? YouTube is being slow. What do you mean? I was gonna say I've got no drop frames or anything this way. I don't know what Jake's on about. Oh dear. What are you laughing at then, Jake? Come on.
This is very difficult.
Ooh. There we go. Let's try this again. Yes, worked that time. No. Well, it depends which one you're on about, to be honest. Sounds like Newcastle just scored again. That all looks good. So we're looking like a populated board now. A few more bits and pieces to go on though. So we've got to put a couple of jumper spots in, I think is the next spot. It's similar to what's on Rob's layout, or the layout that I'm working on, if that's what you mean. But on the other Rob's layout, it's these, which are nothing like these ones. So let's take the 4-way P1. So we've got LK4 and LK9B.
LK4 and LK9B. LK9B. So that is I'm probably being blind as normal. No, it's down there, look. LK9B. There we go. So let's pop those in.
So that's those.
Now we have to put the little jumpers on them.
So they get the two jumpers, VO1 position.
What's that one there? Ooh. What's that one down there?
What's that one there? Okay, 4. It's 12 volt.
So what's that one?
There we go. Yeah, it's starting to look like a normal, like a board now. Getting there. Oh, nice. Well, he had a hot time, didn't he? Used a pressure pad back in the day, and it was an electronics factory though. You want some ET blue tack to hold the components to the board. Yeah. It's only these pins that I really struggle with, because obviously the pin gets really hot. So it's only really those pins that I got to struggle with. The rest of it I'm pretty good with. Mainly because of this, don't get me wrong. This helps massively. I wish that camera would just stay in focus, like. There we go. See if it'll. Well, that looks better, doesn't it? Alright, we'll try and stick with that, shall we? I'll go back to here and we zoom in on that. Oh, no, maybe not. No, that's about as focused as we're going to get it. But that'll do. I'm going to move this though. I think that's better. Much better. So. Let's just back that up a little bit. There we go. Right. Next step. So, 2 jumper backs, locate the 4-way pin 1 and 2-way P2 and the 10-way P4 3.5 inch. Plug all turner box from the component bag, separate the 3 plugs from the side entry sockets and separate some from the use. So now we've got this. And this and this. So now I'm going to have to move this board. I need access to the side of it. Go this way, I think. And this way. There we go. So this now goes in here. This one will go over here. And this one will go over here. That's how they'll go. We'll put the big one in first. There we go. Just work our way across this. Sounds like they've scored again. She'll be happy then today. I don't know why I hold my breath while I'm doing this, to be honest. Not really any need to. So there's that one. We'll put this one in. Oh. Well, Andy, at least they can't say that your railway isn't providing you with sustenance. Man, you just got another one. 3-1 to Newcastle. I'm guessing you're watching the same game then, Walsick. So there's those two. We've got one more. This one here. And there's that one, isn't it? Yep. So now we've got the electrolytic capacitors, which is what I thought was next. 15 and something else, isn't it? Don't tell me I'm missing. Oh no, there it is. Ooh. So fit the 100 volt ones. Actually no. Yeah. Fit the 125 volt, 100 UF, 6C, which is over there, and C11, which is over here. Positive, that's And then we've got the smaller one, goes in C10. The longer lead in there. And flip these over, spread them out a little bit so they stay in place. Oh my god, I've been streaming for 82 hours. Tenderized, Andy, that's the word. Tenderized. And it's never burnt, it's caramelized. Oh. It's very, Jake, to go back to your question there, I've just realised you put another comment in there. It is very similar to what I'm working on that layout, but it's not the same. It's very similar, but it's not the same. What Jake's referring to is I'm currently at the club building a layout that uses the megapoint system, which works on the same sort of idea as what this system does, in that you have certain things within the control panel and then you have certain things that are under the baseboards, boards that are like these, but they're already made, pre-made. He already sells them pre-soldered and pre-made up. But the network interface is slightly different. He does have a newer one called System 2, which works on very similar basis as this, but System 2 has the ability to use Wi-Fi as well, so that you can link it into your Wi-Fi systems, like your what are they called? Z1s. Is it Z1s? Is that the right one? I can't think of what it's called now. So I think these are next. Strap the 3 terminal 7805 regulator from Chrono, fit in position U3. 7805, that's this one. It goes in U3. U3, that's over here. Put that in there. Splay those two out. Now with these I always do the centre pin first, and the reason I do that is because the centre pin goes through to the heatsink part on the back, which means it takes a hell of a long time for it to heat up, and it disperses a lot of the heat very quickly. So I normally try and do this one first because it is normally the most difficult one to do. And you want to make sure that the solder goes all the way through. As you can see, I've had my solder on there for a good little while and it's still not melting the solder. We're getting close. Well, there we go. As you can see, that took a long time just to get that solder to make that little bit of a connection. That's because I had to heat up the whole chip pretty much before it would do it. Look how quick that one was, look. And that one will be exactly the same. Really quick and simple and easy. Snip these off. That centre pin is the most important one though, to be honest, because it is the ground. and these are transistors, so they are dropping down voltage or stepping up voltage sometimes. That is still really warm, even to the touch. So now we put this one in U5, if I remember rightly. Yep. So this one now goes in U5. Do the same again, bend them right over. Try and get that centre pin done. Oh, there we go. Good. Just quickly add a bit to these. There we go. I'll snip that off. Just like that. A bit more off that one. There we go. There's that. Now on the next page. Now we want these, these are resistor arrays, and these they look like ICs, but they're not quite ICs. Well, I suppose they are because they're integrated chips, but these are very similar to these. Oh, to these, very similar, from my understanding, anyway. Where they can be fitted either way around, but must be fitted in the 16 pins of the 18 pins solid closest to the CBUS PCB. Right, so it must be that way around, and there, and then these just push it. Same as this one. Now you do have to push these legs in a little bit, just a tiny touch, just to. But you need to make sure that they are pretty much straight as well, straight and level. See, that one's not quite. There we go. And they've normally got a bite mark on the top, and that bite mark lines up with the little chip out on the top. Now these actually don't go all the way down to the bottom. There is actually a missing section at the bottom on both of them, so you have to make sure that you put them in the right place, and then once you've got them in place, they just slide down. As you can see there, you've got one missing there and one missing there. Now this is going to ask me to check voltages. Now I don't unfortunately have my multimeter with me. I've left it at the pub. So front. Now the title to the video was control your layout with 4 wires, which is very, very true. But you do actually only need 2 for this, because this is just power. The 2 in the centre are the ones that carry the communication. So if I pop this in here, hey, we have a blue light. Well, that's good. Well, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to carry on with the next bit. It tells you to go through this socket here, and it asks you to check between pin 20 and pin 8, pin 20 and pin 19, and pin 3 and pin 2 of this IC to make sure that there is the right voltages in the correct place. Unfortunately, I don't have my multimeter to check, so I'm going to go balls to the wall, as they say, and I'm just going to pop these in, and hopefully we get a green light. So this is the same sort of thing as those other ones. You've got to slightly just pinch these in a slight bit, not much, just a little bit, and then again the bite in the top of the chip goes to the little bite out of the markings on the PCB. And as you can see, I like to try and get one side in, and then I rock it over, and then I just run my nail down this one side so that they all slide in and they're all even. And then once you've got it in place, it just pushes into place like so. And this one's exactly the same, and this one just goes up in this top little corner, and just push them in a little bit. A little bit too far, that one. That's better. There we go, and that's everything in place. So the next step is we get our power, and let's see if we get a green LED or whether we get some blue smoke. Yay, we've got a green LED. So that means that this is now up and running and works, as far as I'm aware. Very disappointed if it didn't. I did have a survey here somewhere. Where's it gone? What do I do with that? There it is. So theoretically, from my information as far as I'm aware, I think the servo goes this way. I think they go this way. And if I'm correct, I should be able to get a piece of wire. What's the... 10. So, in theory, possibly. Let's try this in. Just touch that. No. I'm not sure then. Maybe it's that one there and that one there. No, I'm not sure what's going on there then. It's definitely powered up and running now because the lights are on, as you can see. But now that you have this, ideally, you now plug it into this, and then you use a piece of software which we'll show you now. We'll just do this. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. We'll go to there. Why is the chat not working again? Oh, there we go. Electro boom style testing. Yeah, I suppose that's the one. But this should work. But yeah, you have to like this. Let's just. Studio mode. That's what I wanted. Right. Let's just sort this out. Well, I need to open the program first. Add window capture. Okay. No, we'll cancel that. Let's do window capture instead. Let's do that one. That one. No one, that one. No. That one. No, that one. So we'll just move that over there. Minimize these. Bring this up. Bring this over here. Oh, we'll do that. So you'll get this piece of software, and this piece of software will use that USB modem, which is in here. This being in here, it will use this as a COM port, and then you use this to program these so that you can set up all your inputs to be the switches for your outputs if you wanted. So really you could use this as a standalone board and then run all your switches to here and then all your things from here, but you do need one of these to set it up with. So there we are successful. Like I said, we've got it working, it's up and running. We've built this board now. I've just got 2 more of them to build. Well, I've got 2 more of these. No, 1 more of these, and then I've got 2 more of the input-output boards, which I showed earlier, which is this. Now, if I show you the PCB for this board, you'll see it looks very similar, because it is identical. And the reason for this is because then they can change, once you've built one of these or one of these and you have your USB board, once you've brought up this, then these will appear in here and what they can do, and then you can change each one to do whatever you want it to do. As far as I'm aware, from what I've been told, it can either be 8 inputs, 8 outputs, 16 outputs, or 16 inputs. It can't be like 4 one, 4 of the other, 4 of one, 4 of the other. You've got to use each bank of 8 as either input or output, as far as I'm aware at the minute. Like I said, I haven't actually used any of this in anger yet. I will be very shortly, because obviously I'm building them all now, ready to go on the layout. So yeah, just to reiterate, basically, in case anybody was a bit confused earlier on about the CAN pan, just because I've had quite a few questions about that. So we'll go back to this. So like I said earlier on, the idea of this is that all your switches and all your LEDs go to this. And then from this you have 2 power, which is the same as this. So you could daisy chain this power, even though it goes up to this board. You could then daisy chain that power into this board, so on and so forth. And then you could do that all the way around one board, and then just power a 12-volt power feed to each individual baseboard, which would then run all of your circuitry on the main baseboard. So each of these could all be linked together, and then you would just have a 4-way plug at the end. And that 4-way plug could go from baseboard to baseboard, and that's all the communication that you would need between baseboard to baseboard, and also from your baseboards to your control panel. To be perfectly honest, the control from your baseboards to your panel you wouldn't really need the 2 outside ones, but it's good to do it if you're going to put things like this inside your control, in your control panel face, for instance, because these controllers do need the 12 volts to be able to operate. So that's why they recommend you just use the 4 wires across the whole layout. Sometimes what I might do is I might do 2 twisted pairs. They recommend that CAN bus is done in a twisted pair. Doesn't really make much difference. But yeah. So yeah, so these are exactly the same. They're just connectors. So the idea is you've got 4 in, 4, and again you've got the 4 on the top of here. So then you would just link them all together, and then that's how it works from there on. And then if you had do want to do DCC, then obviously you have this capability within this board. This board has got CBUS and DCC in it, so that means that you can control your CBUS modules from your DCC controller by setting them up as accessories through the controller. Once you've done all that, then you can do it that way, or you can do it the other way and you can have JMRI speak directly to your USB port on the CBUS network and have JMRI control all of your layout if you wish, because then it just has control of the points and not the traction. And then you can have sensors set up with ABC sections so that you can drive your trains as normal, but if they approach a red light, then they will just automatically slow down and stop, and you won't have any control over the train until the red light has changed, which means that a point needs to change or a signal needs to change, or so on and so forth. Yeah, that's why I recommended using a 4-wire system, because then you've got a ground all the way around the boards as well as your high and low. Because obviously then you also need to power the boards themselves as well. So that's why I said you're better off just doing 4 wires from every connection. So basically, like for instance, if you were doing it from layout to baseboard, from control box to baseboards, you would have one of these in your control box, one of these on the edge of the baseboard, and then just plug this between the two. That's the way I would recommend doing it. Thanks, Brian. So if nobody else has got any more questions, I think we'll pack it up there. I've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes today. I would like to thank everyone that's been in the chat today, everyone that's come in, everyone that's been... See, it's gone again. Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. That's all I can think of. But anyway, thank you very much for everyone for watching. I hope I've answered anybody's questions that I needed to. If you do have any more questions, then do put them down below in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Got power to the loop now. Ooh, sounds exciting, Clive. I wish I just had track down, to be honest. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Not a problem, Brian. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I know a lot of it's been a bit boring about me just soldering away. But I think I know what's wrong with that. We'll sort that out. We'll sort that out. I think I know what's wrong, because the chat's coming up but it's just disappearing again. But I think I know what's wrong with that. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, for watching, and we'll catch you.